A mixed start to trade this morning. A lot of earnings in focus from Unilever to SAP. So on that front, let's flesh out what SAP told us.
Yes, because the revenue at SAP fell short of expectations in the third quarter and guided to cloud revenue at the lower end of its guidance range for the full year, following the slowest quarter of cloud growth since 2023. However, earnings came in ahead of estimates, up 12%, and guidance for full-year operating profit is now seen at the upper end of its range. And Netta is in Waldorf, which is not only famous for the salad, but famous for SAP.
Not so sure whether the salad is actually coming from Waldorf, where we currently are, but I'll find that out later on. But now I have something more interesting for you. It's Christian Klein, the SAP CEO here, exclusive for us, for CNBC. Thanks very much for getting up early. Right?
Yeah, thanks for coming to our beautiful headquarters, Annette.
So we don't talk about the salad. We want to talk about cloud and the reduced outlook in a way, or the guidance at the lower end of the range, and also the weakness in the last quarter. So why is that?
I mean, first, when you look at the results in the cloud, I mean, cloud revenue is up 27%, current cloud backlog 27%. These are really great results. Also, when you look at our ERP, our core domain, we are growing also this solution by over 30%. Our peers are all growing in the mid-teens, so we are taking market share. Now, yes, there is a guidance now at the lower end, but this was because of some of the stalled pipeline in half year one in the public sector. But that turned actually super positive now. We signed a framework contract. The pipeline is back. We are signing the first deal. So also the outlook for Q4 is actually really good. The pipeline is strong.
One says that for software revenue, the last quarter of the year is the important year, right? Because many companies are still sitting on money and want to spend. So what are you expecting for the fourth quarter then?
It's indeed our biggest quarter, and the good piece is the pipeline looks really good. Also, when I look into the maturity of the pipeline, so customers are coming to us not only anymore about cloud and doing a transformation. It's also all about AI. It's all about, okay, what kind of use cases can I apply to make my supply chain more resilient? Christian, I'm in the chemical industry. I have cost pressure. How can SAP Business AI help? So that is very, very positive. So that we are not only having a strong pipeline, but it's also a very relevant AI use cases embedded. That is also then increasing the likelihood to close out the year strong.
Sometimes there's still like skepticism how much AI is actually costing companies and what it brings to companies. Yes. So I know you don't disclose what you're investing in AI, but so what's the benefit in the short to medium term?
It's a very good question, actually, because that's why we also decided, hey, we actually started off with a consumption-based business model. So customers are only paying if they see value. And that is actually taking off ground really well. We are talking about supply chain use cases, finance use cases. We have our agents. When you do sourcing, you can select your best suppliers. AI tool is going to tell you how to best procure at the lowest cost to get the goods in time. And that is really taking off. And for us, it's also not only important to sell AI. The adoption and what we are seeing there is that end users are using our AI now even more frequently, and they are using it at a broader scale, which is super important that we are not only selling into a hype, but that we see real adoption.
It's interesting because, at least from what I remember, is it took a while that your customer adopted the HANA solution. So moving into the cloud was more or less, in the beginning at least, a sticky process. So that's now quicker?
Yeah, we overcame that. I mean, there is no debate anymore with any customer said, oh, do I want to stay on-prem or cloud? They all want to move to the cloud. I mean, think about that. In the cloud, you have a new data platform where we're bringing semantically together your data. That is a huge asset also for AI, because there is no AI if you don't have high quality data. An LLM module alone in the B2B world is not giving you value. You need both business data and LLMs. You get that in the cloud. Second, no one wants to sit on a 10-year-old ERP release anymore because all want to consume the innovation on AI. And then last but not least, these ERP upgrades on-prem were also pretty expensive for our customers. So they are absolutely not debating anymore the move to the cloud. It's all about AI now, and that is one reason more to go on this journey together.
Let me ask you a bit about AI and what it also means for your future revenues. So when do we see first sort of signs that this is picking up?
I mean, when you look at our Q4 pipeline, Annette, there is actually not one deal, where we are not really having in the business case AI value and deeply embedded in one of the business processes or in the business model of the customer. So it's already now the number one reason why customers are signing deals with SAP. Obviously, we have great products, we have a great data platform, but AI is always in. to every C-level you're talking, you need to present what can you do for me on AI for my business. Second, where I feel that the strategy is spot on, we are not focusing on infrastructure. We are not focusing on training large language model. That is commodity, which is probably right now a pretty good business. But for SAP, for our customers, the value creation happens on the business layer. And that is actually something what our customers really appreciate.
But interestingly, the market doesn't really seem to understand that too well. Still, if you look at your share price, because the others who do the AI infrastructure do benefit much more. So why is that?
You know, sometimes in life, Annette, even as a CEO, you have to have some patience. And I have to say, share price-wise, I told this, our investors 4 years back, give me some trust. We're gonna, make this work, and look at the share price development in the last 2 years. Fantastic. Now, in my eyes, it's the same. Yes. Having a cloud infrastructure business is actually a scaling business these days. But I'm 100% convinced what customers are looking for is AI value creation for their businesses. So this will very soon move up, and there also the share price will follow. But we are seeing already now that we are applying AI in the business of our customers, and they are telling us, Christian, this is spot on. Keep on doing what you're doing. Don't go into a commodity business where you never have been in. So sometimes it's worth to stick to a strategy, especially when you're hearing from your customers it's the right thing to do.
One last question on your business before we move on to macro. So what's the order backlog doing for next year?
Yeah, I was, pretty optimistic last night, and I'm still optimistic. The pipeline looks good. We actually now have our biggest quarter, and because of the high resilient nature of our business module, I mean, after we closed, Q4, actually 85% of our revenue for next year is already done. So good pipeline for Q4, and with that, when we close out the year strong, customers, also our investors can expect also very positive outlook for the new year.